Hello guys, this is James and today we're gonna Polyfill, the router plugin in Vue. Well, the first question, what is the router plugin? Second question, what's the functionality of user plugin? For instance, it's a page. If we define something like this, then we click, it will just jump to the other page. That's basically how we use it. And what we have done here is in the app view, that's our main page here, we just add something like this. The first line about a route link. So route link works very similar to a tag in HTML. When we click on the hello on the screen, then it will jump to the hello Vue component. Then where's the hello Vue component? Actually, we have really to define it also. The index.js in the router folder has the configuration of designated components. In the new router niche instance, we have to define something exactly like this format, the path. So which one we should input here? And the second thing is the name, and the third is the component. So each routers, it corresponds to one component. And of course, as we see that the hello Vue is this very simple components. And then we just the project, the each link, we put it here with a specific component, and then we can just go to the components. That's the basic logic of router. The other configurations we cannot ignore, and we have to really to emphasize now. First, let's go to the bottom, this one. We have import view and the import router and the components we want to be linked to. And then we use the view.use because that's the way that really introduce any plugins. We did the plugin of Vuex, right? Also, we have to use view.use to introduce the router plugin. And the second thing, very important, as I said, is that the new router, it really have to have some options, and the options really, we have to direct which component will be in the path. If we click the link, then it will be showed on the browser. And the second thing that is in the main.js, because this one is really the place we create our new router, the instance of Vue, right? Prior to that, including in the index.js of the router folder, we haven't created any instance of Vue, but here we create the instance of Vue and we import this instance and just add it to the options here. All right, so that's the way we configure everything, and then let's use it. How to use it? The two tags are very important. The router dash link, we have to really to and specify the path here. And then hello is really the link we show on the page. And then this one is also important. This one means that given we have the link already, we really have to directly to the specific components. So that's how we set up the Vue plugin and router plugin and how we really use it in every component. Vue router is really like a universal or global component. It can be used in any components, whether the father one or the children. Loading everything, let's say, to Polyfill the routers in Vue. The first step, we have to create our own router here. So maybe I just create router, my router, right? .js. In this file, as we see, the fact is that it really uses view.use to introduce the routers. That's the way of plugging in Vue. And as a method in the constructor or construction functions, we really have to know the bottom of it. If we use something like this, actually what it has done is equivalent to use this one equivalent to this one. So the first thing I think we have to do is to create a class of routers, because from this we can see that the router is really a class. In our own files first, we just define a class. So what we can do here is we have to use the options. These options is the one to receive here, from here, everything from here, okay? And we just use this dot, that's the first step. And then don't forget we have to define an install method, because directly prior to anything in this file, we just use root.install this method. We have to define it here. So yeah, just do something. First, we don't forget that in the Vue, it's really the parameter it passed in is the Vue constructor or the Vue function. So we really have to put the parameters inside. And the next step is, of course, we have to export. Maybe we'll just make, yeah, we don't have to make any change. We just change here. We don't really import a router from here, but we import a router from then we may be a little bit hesitant to write what's in the install views. So when we introduce the plugin in views, what we're gonna do? Of course, we can get the answer from here. We have two components or two tags can be used everywhere in any components. What does it mean? It means that this one is a global component. Global components is something that included the components in the option.components, or we can just define something like this. It's another method of constructor. And then we can really define, if we use something like this, then we can really define a global component. And the question is that the one we get in here is really the Vue constructor, right? The answer is yes, because here we really import Vue and then we need to get it here. So yeah, it's really the Vue constructor. So this is the way that we really define the global components. Inside, what we're gonna do is to use template. Now the answer is no, we cannot use template because this template can only be used in the runtimes. Like in the browser, what we did in the runtime. But here we have the Webpack. Webpack has to pre-compile all the stuffs and then pack them. It doesn't really have the runtime environment, so the template cannot be really rendered here. Here, please note that our method to use is to use render function. Render function works as a template. It can translate any components to the Vnode. Vnode is a virtual node, it's an object. Vue can really translate all the components first to the Vnode, then the Vnode will be correspond to the HTML tag. Then it will be rendered well in the HTML. Alright, let's change template to the render function here. There's a function h as a parameter, so we have to put it here. H is the one we have to return the Vnode. Now our purpose is very clear. We want to really change the component we create, the router link components, to the Vnode, and then we should use the h to change it, right? And to make it more observant, let's just write the object we will change. Next, we write what this component will be changed to. Since it's really, the behavior of it really like the A tag in HTML, we can really change this component to the A tag. So we write the A tag here. Next thing, very important, how to use the h function. H function is as a parameters to pass here. It can really return a virtual node, Vnode, and let's just put the use here. First, the tag should be the A tag. That's what we will transform the root link to the A tag. So we should use a string. Then we have to define any attributes inside the tag. The attributes should be to something. So we should use something like a object. And then attributes should have a name. The name is, remember, it should be the href, because everything will translate, right? We will project this one. Actually, it should be the value of this one. So href should be, because we can use this because this eventually will be referred to the components, the instance of component itself. Now we really have to sync this router link components as a child components in the app.vue father components, And what we have passed here is the xxx value to the 2. 2 should be a property as the communication with the father components ipp.vue, right? So later we're gonna define the property also in the components to receive the xx value. Now let's just focus on the third parameters, the children. So of course a can have some child tag or some child elements inside. So what we're gonna write here is to really include the hello. But how to include the hello if it's in a child component and then in the father component it writes something here? How can we really include that? Yes, using slots. That's the way also Vue have provided us. Well, if you're not still familiar with how to use slots, I recommend to read some guidebooks or some tutorials or just check the website, official website of Vue. In brief, if the father components write something in between the components as sub elements, then it should be received by the kid child components with slots, and it will be stored in the $stars default. What we can do here is we can really see what's really in the slots. Okay, so let's go to the web page. Okay, there's an error we have to solve. Cannot find the variables router in the m router. Wait. Yes, now I find the mistake I made. We cannot really define the install method here. Why? Because anything defined, any method that's defined in the class should also always be attached to the router dot prototype dot blah 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 blah. But actually in the Vue, what we have used here is directly call the method of the constructor, not the prototype of the constructor. So this is very crucial. Okay, this is very important. And so we cannot really define the method on the prototype. It's not like if we use the new Vue and then we can use the method. No, it's really the method on the constructor on the function. So what we're gonna do here is to move everything from here to install, and then inside is two method. The first method is something until here. The second method is something until here. That's right. And I think now it's correct. And the last thing I have to really add here is aforementioned props, because we have to use property to receive the two. And here we just write something. Is it required? Yes, it's required. And first, we can see that there's a view wall field to mount the component template for rendering functions of the root view. This error is normal. Why? Because we haven't really defined anything in the root view. It's empty here. That's why it's okay. But let's just focus on this. This is what we have printed out. Yes, and we can see that it's already a Vnode because the snot should be a Vnode. And in the Vnode, we can see the text of it is hello. Exactly. That's what we have. And here we should add an H. Okay, now I just console log both things. The nis.$slot and then the output. We just first console log it, then we just retain. So we exactly know what's inside there. What do we have created here? Let's see. It is a Vnode already. As we said that the render is just return a Vnode, just convert anything into the Vnode that we need to later convert it to the real HTML DOM. We can really find out something we have to pay attention to. The data is really the attributes we have created, right? href #/hello Vue. Exactly, that's what we have done here, and that's what we have put here. All right, and also here we can see that tag is A, right? That reflects that the tag we really have to use is the A tag. The third thing we should pay attention is the Vue components. So UID3, actually it means where we use it. Since later we can also discover, but since I think the app view is being defined as this UID3. So it means, okay, the Vue components in the UID3 has if some information is there already, then the information is the data and the tag. And the fourth thing we have to really need to notice is the children. In the children, there's also a Vnode. That's exactly what we have seen here, the $snot, as it should here. So really, the Vnode is created by H as a parameter. That's the first thing. And also the Vnode just complying with also the structure of the HTML DOM structures. Children Vnode, and there's the father Vnode. The children Vnode refers to something inside, and here is the father, or here is the father Vnode. All right, that's something we really make clear of already. And that's what we write every scene to create this router link component. Next, we will create the router view. So I will see you the next. Thanks for watching.